Alright everyone, this is going to be kind of a tutorial for the first steps of making our scale drawing project. You're going to need a pencil, a ruler, and of course your picture that you are drawing. What we're going to do today is we're going to start the initial process, which is kind of sectioning off our initial drawing, so that later when we go and make our new drawing, we have nice even sections that we can then go through and recreate on a bigger piece of paper. To do this, each drawing is going to be a little bit different in the way that you want to kind of try it out, okay? But we really need to figure out, based upon our drawing, how wide and how many squares we should have. Now we're going to use 1-inch segments, okay? So they're all going to be like that, and we're going to make a bunch of squares on here with those inch segments. Now there's a lot of ways you can do this that I've found. One way I'm going to try is kind of going something like this, which is you're going to kind of line your ruler up on the edge of your paper, and you're going to go until you kind of hit a point where your drawing starts. So if you see right there, I've got a little bit of Bart's wheels on a skateboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to back it up just a little bit, and I'm going to kind of make a mark right before where that hits. So I'm going to make a mark up here, and I'm going to make a mark down here. Okay? I'm going to kind of do the same thing on the other side. So again, I'm going to start with my ruler and just kind of drag it across, trying to keep it straight. And as you can see right there, there's the beginning of his elbow. So again, I'm going to kind of back it up, and I'm going to make 2 marks, kind of signifying where I could go. Okay, now these 2 marks aren't meant to be the exact placements where we're going to start, but rather like the closest that I could be are these 2, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure these 2, and we're going to see kind of how many inches we've got. So it looks like right here, I'm just a little bit short of 6. Now I could definitely make inches of 6 if you are like right in the middle, like, you know, you're on it, but you're not sure if you're going to have enough space. You can always kind of move each of these. So like I could put them each on the 1/2-inch mark, and then I would have boxes of 7. Okay. For this one, I'm going to try the 6-inch version here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of line it up, and I'm going to make a mark right at 6 inches. And since I've already measured it on the bottom as well, I can do the same down here. Okay. And there we go. So when you measure again, you should have kind of these lined up. Got 6 inches on there. And it looks like we've got 6 inches right there. Now that I've got them marked off top and bottom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of make the outside lines for my shape. Okay, so there's one. I'm going to spin it around. And again, I'm going to make another line to connect. Okay. Now at any point I should be able to measure across. And we should be pretty much right on the money. If you're a little bit off, that's okay. Right? So it looks like I may have done this a little bit wrong. And I can tell why. That was my 6-inch mark. That was kind of that initial mark. So I'm going to try that. The more accurate you are to begin your project, the better it's going to turn out at the end. So if you need to redo it, that's totally okay. All right, we would rather have you retry it first to make sure we got it right. All right. Now when we measure across, I'm going to line up my 0. And if you look at that, right, I'm right on 6. Okay. Now, we're going to kind of go the same thing for horizontally, right? I kind of want to see how many inches do I need from my top to my bottom. Okay, and clearly, I can see that from the top of his head to about the bottom of the board in his shoes, that's about 10 inches. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I start it above his hair, right? So this 0-inch line is above his hair. This 10-inch line is below his shoe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making marks every inch on here. Okay. So we've got 1 inch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. So we've got all our markings there. Okay. One thing that you're going to want to do is to make sure you've got your same scale here. So I'm going to measure this quick. And it looks like I was about a 1/2 inch from the top. Okay. I see that from the edge of my paper to my first mark that I made. It's about a 1/2 inch. I want to make sure I repeat that on the other side, otherwise I'm not going to get straight lines. So I'm going to look. See me, I know this first one was about a 1/2 inch off. And then from here, right now I can mark every inch on here. So 1, 2. There we go. So now that I have markings on both sides, what we're going to do is we're going to draw across. And again, if you want, you can be checking. These should all be the same measurement for before, so mine was about 6 inches. Okay. And you want to make sure that you got a line going straight across. So I want a little crooked here. This first drawing, it's totally okay if you really need to mark it up and stuff. Right, this isn't going to be our final project. The next one, though, for sure, is one that you're going to want to make sure that you got everything nice and even before you draw lines, because that's going to kind of be the one that's going to count. There we go. And then from there, we're going to continue to make these straight lines across. Oops. All right, I'm just checking to make sure I still got straight lines. Looks like it. So now I've got all of my horizontal lines, and if we check, each one of these should be about 1 inch apart, as you can see right there. All right. We're not going to use this top, we're going to do this twice. We're going to look at the top and bottom again. And this time, with this line up here, we're going to mark 1 inch on each of these. And again, we'll repeat this on the bottom line. And eventually we will get our full grid that we need. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Right, so now what we should see is we should have 1 inch by 1 inch squares everywhere. So there's 1 inch. Between 3 and 4, there's 1 inch. And eventually what we're going to do is we're going to recreate this exact same pattern on our big piece of paper, except for the fact that instead of making 1 by 1 squares, we're either going to make 2 by 2 or 3 by 3, and it's all dependent on what you want to do. Now there are going to be some limitations, right? If your picture is like big like this, a 3 by 3 is not going to work, just because I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I need 10 squares, so that'd be 30 inches. I think our paper is only 28. So there is going to be a couple that are going to be size limited. If you are one that has a smaller picture and want to do the 3 by 3, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Okay. In the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at, okay, how do I create the graph on the bigger piece of paper? And then from there, we'll begin to start actually doing the scale drawing, which is connecting each of the different pieces.